activated. Your weekly football fix kicks off now.
You can follow the LFC Total Red Football Podcast on X, Facebook, YouTube and TikTok.
A brand new season kicking off, the LFC Total Red Football Podcast. With me tonight, there's Neil and Kev. Welcome along, lads. How are you, Neil?
Yeah, all good, thank you. All good, thank you. Well rested. Looking forward to a new season and then saying goodbye to the old one.
Kev, how are you?
Likewise, same. Refresh start, new era, see what it brings.
Well, we know we've played one game already. That was a couple of days ago against Newcastle, so we'll go straight into that and obviously analyse that, I suppose. Away at Newcastle United, I mean, Neil, I'll start with you. What were you expecting from the game? A win, a draw, a loss? You know, what were you thinking going into it, at least?
So, a few days before, I was thinking that, you know, we needed to take advantage of the fact that they lost some of their key players. So Guimaraes has gone to Arsenal, Tonali's gone to Newcastle, Gordon's gone to Barcelona, and then you get the news that Joe Linton's injured as well. And I'm thinking there's a real opportunity to take advantage of a difficult game and take 3 points. And then, you know, there was obviously a lot going on around the game, quite an emotional game with it being for remembering Super Kev, Kevin Keegan, and then the Isak thing as well. I think it was quite a highly charged occasion, and I think I came away thinking it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. They probably performed better than I expected. We probably didn't perform as well as we can do. And I think I was just relieved to get out of there with something in the end. So, yeah, a bit disappointed we didn't win, but I don't think it's the worst result in the world in a difficult game.
Yeah, Kev, same question to you. You know, what were you expecting? Obviously, everything's so new, and like Neil said there, you know, there were some injuries. So it's like, you know, did you go into it positively, or were you feeling the worst?
I go into any game against Newcastle with confidence. We have a really good record against them. Haven't lost a game in 20 games against them, I think it is. I was going into it exactly the same as what Neil did. The only reservation I had is I quite like Newcastle's manager. I think it's a very much of a big upgrade to what they've had in Eddie Howe. And once he gets his feet settled, I think they could be a dark horse to look at because of his style of play. He was on my list to be the one to replace Slot as well. One of the people to replace him. I know a lot of people may not have heard of him. He was in the Saudi League. He was in the German League before then. Good manager, very good manager. Got a style of play that's similar to Klopp. And even though it was a decimated team, if that would have been Eddie Howe, we would have won. The fact that he had that team set up the way they did, fair enough. Both goals come from a counter-attack. Probably their only option, their only chances. I think they only had 3 or 4 chances at goal. 2 of them they scored from a counter-attack, which I thought was, the second one was criminal that we conceded. But to come away with a point in the end, don't think neither side did enough to win the game. I think the game itself, I think the beforehand, the intensity, and let's be honest, there's 2 sets of fans done an amazing tribute, a fitting tribute to King, to Super Kev, and proved how much of a great manager he was for both sets of fans. Obviously, we'll do our own little thing this week in our home game, but no, I'll be similar thoughts. Come away with the points, probably not the worst result in the world. We wipe our feet down, but lessons have to be learned from that.
I think, you know, I went into it a little bit of trepidation because you see the preseason games, you know, it hasn't been all bad, it hasn't been all good. It's just been, you know, him trying to stamp his identity, I suppose. I went to the game against Como at Anfield. And you're looking at certain players, you're thinking, right, okay, I think they're going to do all right. We'll talk, I'm sure, briefly through this, about Ngumoha going on to the right. And that seems to be his preference. So he's tweaking it. Obviously, he wants his own style, maybe a bit more forward-thinking than what Slots was. And I went to this game thinking, well, okay, Newcastle sometimes is a tough game. And I appreciate what you've said, Neil, about injured players and everything, but they're still a tough side, like. So I was thinking, well, a draw isn't the end of the world. But the way the game played out, I was just like, I was disappointed with Liverpool. When Newcastle scored, I mean, Kirkes, he's a fast lad on the left, but there's not many that can keep up with Anthony Elanga. Is that his name? Yeah. I mean, he's one fast player. Yeah. And the way he come in and he took his, I mean, hey, all credit to the guy, fantastic. But then when Liverpool make it 1-1 and then give the goal away so quick afterwards, it's like I was just looking at it going, well, we're so exposed because Gravenberch and Szoboszlai and that were just so far up, just leaving too much space. In the end, Jessica, they got out of jail, and they got this last-minute penalty. Take the point overall. You just got to take what you get. At the end of the day, it's there. Great. I was fairly satisfied, I suppose. But he's got a lot of work to do. I mean, what did you think of the first goal? First of all, Kev, what Liverpool scored?
Our goal all day first.
Our goal.
Our goal. I'll be honest. I thought for about 15 minutes, I thought Gakpo in the second half played probably the best I've seen Gakpo play.
Yeah.
And coming in centrally into a central position and taking a shot. Superb. Kind of thing what you want, kind of thing that makes you think, I don't want him to go. Because he has got similar numbers to Barcola, and I would rather keep him. And I'll be honest, it's going to have to take it's got to be 3 figures with the amount of, players are going for stupid money, the likes of Elliot Anderson and, Rodgers and everyone else. Budadi, who's 18 years old, you get playing 95 million for him. It's the sign of the times. But I thought second half, we came out the way we started the first half, which was we were very dominant. But in the final third, the pass was either too long, too short, too narrow, too obvious, too telegraphed. But then when we changed it up a little bit, and you see Gakpo come into the middle and do what he did, fair, and that's what he's got in his locker. Don't get me wrong. He had a few sighters coming in on his normal right-hand side, coming in from the left into his right, and, got close with one in the second half, start of the second half. But again, he's got that in his locker, and, fair play to him. Scored, got us back into it, and I thought it was literally at that moment in time, there was only one team that was going to win.
I agree, to be honest. I mean, do you feel that, Neil? It seemed that once Gakpo scored, we were in the ascendancy. And I was expecting maybe Liverpool to go on and at least test the goalie a lot more, maybe get the second goal, and you're thinking, we're doing all right here. But then it didn't quite work out like that, did it?
No, it did feel like that. We did come out after half-time, and I thought we played well for those 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was. We were completely in control. Every time they cleared it, we were just picking up the scraps and just coming. It was like wave after wave of attack. And that's, Kev used the word criminal about the goal that we gave away. The timing of it is dreadful because we were in total control. We've got the momentum of scoring, and then we just give them such a soft goal, which then makes it, a game that we're having to chase unnecessarily. And it was really basic mistakes that we made, and it was really disappointing because we were very much in the ascendancy at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was about 2.5 minutes between goals. Now, was it 4, 5, even, I don't know, maybe even 6 players were chasing him down the field. And it's like, why on earth did one of them not take that foul and just go, I'll take the yellow card?
Exactly. And I think it was a criticism I had of the team last year as well, is that there doesn't seem anyone that's got that game intelligence of doing the right thing at the right time.
Yeah.
Even if it's taking someone out and taking a yellow card for the team. So you look at the likes of Rodri. Rodri just brings him down and takes a yellow card. And you got Wirtz and Szoboszlai just running with him, not doing anything. Gravenberch kind of sauntering behind them. It's like one of you's just got to foul him. And then as soon as he's away, you're in trouble because they're in on your defence. And to be fair to Wissa and to Joe Willock, they worked it really well, and it was good. It was a good finish, but we can't have that in the middle of our midfield. I mean, you know, you can look back to the first goal. Arguably, there's midfield issues there, but the second goal is just shocking. And ultimately, it probably has cost us 2 points because, as you've both alluded to, we were going to go on and win that game the way it was going.
The LFC Total Red Football Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts from. Also available on your smart speaker, or you can watch us on YouTube.
Kev, do you think, you know, obviously we'd look back and go, right, somebody like a Steven Gerrard or a Graham Souness or somebody like that, he wouldn't have got that far with that ball. They'd have had him, took the foul, you know, got the yellow card, whatever. I'm not condoning going in, you know, like really bad tackle, and it would have been a yellow. It wasn't last man or kind of thing for ages. It could have took him out. Were you surprised how easy it was just to run through like that?
Yeah. And same with the first goal. Gravenberch done my head in for both of their goals. One, either shoot, but don't do what you do with that first goal, because that sets them in the ascendancy, puts them on the front foot, and they get through. I think Alisson was out of position as well. I think he went too far into his near post because the ball actually goes in the middle of the goal, not actually in the corner. So if he didn't, so there's a few individual errors there. The second one, again, Gravenberch loses the ball trying to do a flick near the 18-yard box. Vic comes to Vixer. And as Neil and yourself have alluded to, you've got 4 players around it. Not one of them. It's schoolboy manner of defending. No one's willing to put a tackle in, but they're saying that I'm marking him. You're doing nothing. Either put a challenge in. There's no point in you running back. By the time it gets to Frimpong to put a challenge in, he's already on a yellow card. So I don't know what anyone was expecting there. Because he was going to get a red. So the moment had gone. Don't get me wrong, great finish by Willock, but we should never be in that. Yeah. We should never be in that. And then you look at Virgil at the end, going, "Well, you know, we should have done more." Don't shit, Sherlock. Do you know what I mean? I'm not being funny, but you're standing there. I'm watching it on the telly, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. I could see it coming because no one was willing to put the challenge in. No one was willing to make that have that leadership or game management, is what Neil's alluded to. No one's got that kind of intelligence about them. We have the 3 stooges in Kerkez, Frimpong, and Costas. They're our fullbacks. And the weirdest thing about it is, within 2 minutes in the first half, both our fullbacks on yellow cards. And we're not helping ourselves because no one's actually everyone's playing with emotion. No one's actually playing the game as the way it was meant to be played. If we match their intensity and match what they were doing, which is what, again, Virgil alludes to. Oh, well, they were doing it. We should say, oh, really? It's easy to say that now. But honestly, there's no one in that midfield that you can actually trust at the minute. And everyone, it's like a knife through butter at times. And it's sacrilegious that we've got a new manager and no one is willing to even bring in a centre mid, and it's being downplayed by everyone because we are missing a centre mid who can actually dominate and protect, because we have too many players that want to go forward. We have too many players that play in the in schoolboy mode. I want to score the goal. I want to assist. Who's staying back? Oh, don't worry about that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's if we're going with a new start and a new way, don't get me wrong, it's going to take time for the intensity and all like that. You know, Isak, probably the first time he's played 90 minutes for us, and he looked absolutely debated. He looked back, looked knackered at the end of the game. if for this to work, we have to back him, and it had to be in this window. And I hope we can do something. But both goals could have been prevented. Both of them were schoolboy errors, and both of them is the frustrating thing that we have with an annoyance with this team, that we have people in the right position to do something and don't actually do anything with it, and at the same time we have no one who can tackle or position themselves in a position that can actually save us. We have too many players willing to do their own individual stuff and not do dirty work.
So let's pick out a few of the players in it, and there's not a good or a bad. I'm just asking your opinion. So we'll start at the back. Neil, Jérémy Jacquet, defender, young lad who's come in. Obviously, signed him in January. Stayed at his old club and then moved over in the summer. How do you feel he's come in? In pre-season and maybe that game. Overall.
Yeah, I've been really impressed, to be honest. I thought, we had to wait for him pre-season. I think it was the Como game, wasn't it, that he came in, and he was outstanding.
He was, yeah.
There for the 45 minutes that he played. And what I really like is how good he is on the ball. He looks comfortable on the ball. So when we had Canate, I think teams used to allow us to give him the ball and try and channel it so we would give him the ball, because teams didn't think he had the enough ability to progress it. This guy's different. I think the commentator said about it, he's punching balls into to players. He looks very comfortable on the ball. He looks very confident. Defensively, he's been okay. We've only seen 45 minutes of a friendly and sort of an hour, 70 minutes of the first league game, but from what I've seen so far, I've been impressed with him, and I've also been impressed with Ronald Araujo as well. I think both games that he's come on, he's looked comfortable. Obviously, 2-3 years ago, he was touted as one of the world's best centre backs, but it's actually an area at centre back where you actually think we've actually got some depth now. So with Leone coming back as well, and I think Gomez coming back from his short-term injury, centre back.
Is it ever a short-term injury though?
Well, no. We need it.
Give him 2 games, he'll be gone again.
Do with him to play right back at the moment, I think. But it actually feels, and I can't remember the last time it felt like that we've actually got some depth at centre back, because it's normally a problem position. So, yeah, I like Jacquet. I think you can see why there was a big clamour to sign him. I've been impressed with what I've seen so far. After 20 games, we'll probably know what his weaker points are. But so far, so good.
So, Kev, I'm going to ask you about Jérémy Jacquet, obviously, as well. The guy from Barcelona, is it Araujo, is it? Or something, how you pronounce it. And then, as Neil said there, you got Leone coming back. Are you happy with the 4 defenders? The 2 of them are quite young, but now bringing him in as well, he's got obviously a lot of experience, and he doesn't look like the type who will take much nonsense, I suppose. I look at him and I think, well, Virgil's one side, and if you have to play them too, which they did for a while, he looks like the type he can handle himself. He's not going to be over-ordered, I hope, anyway. So with the 2 young ones maybe coming through and they can learn off them, are you happy with the defensive setup as the central defence?
Yeah, I think Neil's said everything about Jacquet. He was actually good to step up in that cauldron on Sunday and played in the manner that he did, and how dominant he looked, and how good how he forces that ball through the lines for his passing. Unbelievable quality dominating player. What I'd like to see is him and Araujo play together and give Virgil a break, because I'm not being funny. A 35-year-old playing every minute of the game as a one-off is fine, but not 2 seasons in a row. Save those energy. Play them both in the Carabao Cup. My only worry with Araujo is that he loves the physicality that much that I'll probably be putting him down in my bet builder's face for him to be getting the yellow card. I hope that comes out of him. I don't want to lose all of it, but he has to play with a bit more common sense than I have previously seen him play at Barcelona with.
Yeah.
That said, though, I think his game suits the Premier League than it does the Spanish league. I think the fastness, the physicality of it is right up his street. And it'll be interesting to see those play. We have got a bit of depth at there, but you've got to bear in mind you've got to take that with a sensitively, especially with the young lad coming back from an ACL in Leone. So, but no, signs are good at centre half at the minute. Fingers crossed, everything's touched and holy water blessed and everything. That nothing happens to any of them. But again, we just need to make sure that we keep them as fit and as fresh as we can, and we need to give Virgil a rest. And he shouldn't be playing in the Carabao Cup third round or any of the FA Cup games.
Yeah,
give him a rest.
You can follow the LFC Total Red Football Podcast on X, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
Okay, we'll move on and talk about Alexander Isak. You've obviously said there, at the end of the game, he was absolutely knackered. But we can't expect world-class performances straight away. Basically, he's had a whole year from last pre-season to this one of struggles and injuries and no game time, etc. So how long do you think they give him? Are they going to play him every game all the time to try and get him straight up to speed now? Or do you feel with Ekitika being out, it's a bit of a difficult one, isn't it? It's like, so Neil, do you think he's going to be literally starting all the time and finishing the games? Or have we got to nurse him a little bit just to make sure he doesn't get crocked again?
So I think we've got 5 league games before the international break. So I think he'll start all of them. Whether he'll complete all of them, I don't know. I think largely it will depend on what options that we've got, because if Gakpo goes, he's kind of the obvious cover at the moment. So if Barcola was to come in, I suspect that he would be the cover. So I think Isak will play these league games. I actually think he's looked sharper pre-season than any time at all last season. Playing in the World Cup might have done him some good. He seems a bit more involved in the build-up, getting more touches, and I think his general touch has been okay. Sunday was a difficult game for him because they were on him.
Of course.
Anything, and he had a couple of half chances that he kind of didn't put away. So I don't have too many concerns about him. I feel if he's given the service, he will score goals because he's a wonderful finisher. We saw it a couple of times in pre-season. He gets a chance and he just tucks it away. So yeah, I think these 5 games he'll start them all. Whether he finishes them all will depend on the match situation and whether we need him on the pitch at the time. But I would think once he comes back from that international break, all being well, he should be up to somewhere getting it back to maximum sharpness.
Yeah, Kev, do you agree with that? Do you think? They should treat him with kit gloves a little bit.
I'll be honest. It doesn't matter what we think. The media will be out for him because he's a £125 million player, and he should and he needs to starting to play in a style that is and a manner of 125 million, along with Florian Wirtz being another one. The pair of them were quiet as such. I think Isak done his best. I think he's been asked to play not as a main number 9, but he's coming a little bit deeper for the balls, and I don't know if that's suiting to his game. I want him to be on that back line. I want him causing ruptions. I want him to be able to show the link play that he's got with Wirtz, and that partnership that looked all right. I expected more out of the game out of him. I wanted him to be up for it. For a man who fought for his way to get back in to get to Liverpool, I was expecting that kind of fight on the pitch, and I never actually saw it, to be perfectly honest. The chances he had, if he had them again, he should score them. Especially one where met Charlie Adams' League Cup final penalty in the second half. That's still rising as we speak. But again, for me, there's not going to be much. There's not going to be much time given to them. I agree with everything what Neil said, though, because that's the way we should be looking at it. I'll be honest. I don't think there was anything on the bench to substitute for Isak on Sunday.
Yeah,
and that's the issue you've got, is that the depth within the squad isn't capable to even provide the cover to take Isak off and continue in the manner that you were playing. So all credit to him for playing his 90 minutes. That's going to have to be a little bit more, and he's going to have to play and get involved a little bit more than what he did. He caused issues to the back two, to give him credit. Took a few fouls, showed a bit of physicality. I want to see a little bit more than that, to be honest, especially for the money that we paid. But he's got it in his locker to do it, as Neil's alluded to. He's a quality finisher of the ball. The goal he scored against Tottenham, which broke his foot, that's the 9 I've been crying out for. That's the quality of finish that he's actually got, and we've got to get him mentally into that kind of state and that hunger that he showed against us when he was playing for Newcastle in the League Cup final, and the times that we played against him when he scored.
Yeah.
That's the mentality we've got to get him back to, and however we do that, it's fine. Let's do it, but he's not going to be given time by many. The criticisms, if not already there, will be there for him.
Yeah, I think if before the break in for the internationals in September, if he can get at least a couple of goals and keep fit, then I think that'll give him confidence. Like you said, Neil, goes into the internationals, get a bit more fitness again, come back ready to go, hopefully. But yeah, the jury's still out, unfortunately. Another player that's under the microscope, you've already said there, Kev, is Florian Wirtz. You know, what have Liverpool got to do now with this new guy in charge and possibly new formation? What have they got to do to get the best out of him? He come out in the summer and said, yes, I'm more settled now. You know, it was a bit of a culture shock, etc., coming over here. The Premier League's faster than the Bundesliga. You know, he said he's more settled and he's more ready now. So what have we got to do to play to his strengths?
That's to me.
Yes, sorry, Kev, yeah.
To be honest, we've got to play him as a number 10. And we've got to get him in the position and provide him with the midfield that supports him playing in a 10 role. It's all very well playing someone in the 10, but if you haven't got the midfield capability to adapt and allow him to be in that number 10 role, then it's futile in whatever you do. That's why it's important that you get that right. You got to get the structure and the fore and the spine right to allow you to adopt and change. You're making an absolute big change. It's a big change for this club. We've gone from a 4-3-3 kind of style of play to now playing in which we've had no number 10 at all. Our number 10's been a right back, which is unconventional, and we are now going to a conventional way. It's going to take time. We've got 2 managers since Wirtz has come in, and not one of them yet has been able to get a midfield that allows you. You've got Iraola playing a 4-4-2 in which he's playing Wirtz as a false 9, literally, which isn't his type of game. Give him the tools and you'll see Wirtz play. If you don't provide him with the tools, then the magician is going to be lost within that team, and you'll only see fiddles of what you see. And that is the frustration with Wirtz at the minute, is the fact that, one, he doesn't look physically up for it. The game isn't structured, or the team isn't structured to him to take it by the ball by its horns. Get that right. You've got to play.
Yeah. Neil, do you agree with Kev?
Yeah, totally. I think if I'm honest, I expected more last season, and I think the signing of what I thought was one of the world's best youngest players has been a bit underwhelming so far. And I thought this would be the season where we start to see the best of him, and I hope it still will be. But for me, it's all about having the right structure around him. So Leverkusen got the best out of him when they had, I can't remember, was it Palacios, the holding midfielder, and Granit, very wily players that, you know, fill the midfield, know their roles, know their position. They're not bombing off all over the place, and crowding his space at times as well, because they're all on top of each other. You've only got to look at both goals. They're all in the within 10, 12 yards of each other, the three through the middle. So I think the structure is important. I think getting the right outlets on the wings, I think having pace on the wings will suit him. But I do agree with one of the points that Kev made. He does seem to be playing quite advanced, almost like in a 4-4-2. And I would like to see him drop in between the lines, as we saw Gakpo do at the start of the second half, and do it quite effectively. So I thought he started all right. He was quite bright. He had that shot, but then he kind of faded. But I do think the setup of the team as it is, with the personnel, is not going to help him. And I think they're going to need to. We can't play those two in the middle of midfield.
No, it comes full circle to what we said earlier. He's got to get the structure of the midfield right to get the best out of him. Because if everybody's just all rushing forward, as him, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, etc., all pushing in the same kind of area, then there's no defined role for him. It's it's pushing him here, there, and everywhere, just trying to make some space. So
exactly.
You're listening to the LFC Total Red Football Podcast.
The last one I'm going to pick out is Rio Ngumoha. Obviously, played on the left under Arne's slot. Iraola prefers to use him on the right, and that's where he's used him pre-season. He played in this game on the right. Neil, what's your thoughts on this? Are we going to see the best of him? Can he adapt to that side? Or is it going to be one of these? Well, I mean, I'll say it. I personally would like him to interchange during a game. That's what I would like. Whether he's got the players is going to be able to, a bit like we've seen over years with, and we hark back to Mane and Salah, kind of like trying to interchange and just bamboozle the defenders. But if Ngumoha can move to the left sometimes, or stay on the right and just keep the defenders under pressure, do you think on that side it can work for him?
I think in time it can. And as you said, Sadio Mane started on the right for us, and ended up on the left. But there was a guy who was quite experienced by that time. We've got what we think is an elite talent, and I think we need to nurture him, and I think we have done to a certain extent. The signs of him on the right are that he doesn't look as comfortable. He does look a lot more comfortable cutting in. He's looked a lot more dangerous cutting in, and having those shots curling to the far post. So, as such a young player, I think we need, as I say, we need to nurture him. There may be times in games where we do want to switch to wingers, but let's put him there where when the rest of the team is settled. And not put him there because we need him to go and win the game for us. So I would be thinking of him as a option on the left side. I'm not saying he should start. I'm not saying he shouldn't start, but I think let's let him develop as a player in a position that he's comfortable with, and then as time goes on, start to introduce other variants to his game, because I think the signs are that he doesn't even look as happy in that position.
Yeah.
So that's what I think anyway.
Yeah. I'll be honest. My view is I don't want him to become disillusioned quite quick. And that sounds mad to say that, players should stick at it and give it. If that's what the manager wants, like, yeah, of course I'm going to play their boss. I want to be in the team, etc. But we all know nowadays you have agents in your ears going, listen, mate, if you're not happy, I can make a few pounds moving you on to somewhere else who will appreciate you, etc. And it happens all the time. And I just don't want a talent like that to be disillusioned enough to go 12 months from now, do you know what? I want to move on. Goes to another side, plays on the left potentially, and becomes a world star. And you think, we let him slip through our fingers. So how would you handle this, Kev? Do you keep him on the right and hopefully he molds gradually?
Well, the one thing I wouldn't do, I wouldn't put him up in one against one of the best left backs in the league on the opening day of the season. I wouldn't have done that. That was sacrilege doing that. As soon as he came on and as soon as he got the ball, he wasn't getting any much out of Hall, who I rate as a very, very good, talented left back. And with hindsight, you probably would go with Muniz instead because he caused more down there. Now, whether Muniz could have blasted as long as what Rio, fair play to Rio. Rio will play anyway. If you ask him to play centre half or goalkeeper, he'll do it. He won't be happy doing it. I think he can grow in there. I think the issue you've got now is if we get Barcola and Gakpo doesn't go, then his opportunities on the left are very, very, very small, if any, unless something has to change. Because I'll be honest, what I saw from Muniz, maybe he starts the game and Rio ends the game because of the natural, how natural it looked for Muniz and what he done within that game in that short spell. That's not taking away what Rio can do. I think Rio is growing. I think he's still a bit raw, and we want him to do what he done last year and go down the left hand side and cut in and do this. But the problem is that coming on the right hand side for Liverpool comes with the very, very, very big shoulders, and you've got to be able to carry that weight at the minute. And whoever plays there now will have that kind of struggle already. But give him time. He'll grow with confidence, and he'll either adapt or he'll need to start fighting for a place on the left hand side, which I think is going to be very, very difficult at the minute. So he's going to have to possibly. We may see him, and which is natural with young players. There's times where he is going to ebb and flow. He will be at his peak, and then he'll come in troughs. This is probably the moment where you play Victor Muniz, and about 5 games in, once the international breaks back, you may then start seeing Rio starting because he knows how to play that game because he's watched him. So it's something you've got a bit of development on that right hand side with both of them, which is nice to see. One thing is for certain, they've both got pace, and if they go the way that we saw Muniz do, and they both do that, then that's going to cause issues for anyone in the league. But to put them up against Haaland in the first game is sacrilege. I felt sorry for the lad, to be honest.
I think it would have helped if he had somebody very experienced on the right hand side to show him the ropes in training. Unfortunately, he left in the summer. So it's like he hasn't got somebody. I mean, he has played alongside him in training, etc. But yeah, he could have given some hints and tips, maybe. Just to wrap up, obviously, on the subject of the Newcastle game, last-minute injury time penalty, Dominic Szoboszlai. I've seen other places on social media saying there was 2 similar tackles over the weekend. One was given as a penalty, one wasn't. Here we go again. There's the consistency. It's like day one, it's starting straight away. What was your thoughts on it, Neil? Penalty?
Yeah, I thought it was a penalty. I thought he connected with him. They said it was soft, but he fouled. For me, he fouled him, and it was never going to be. I think once it was given, there was never any doubt that it was going to be overturned. So I don't really know what they were complaining about, to be honest. Penalty for me.
Yeah, Kev, same for you?
Absolutely. And I just love the fact that we get Muniz, 24, Rio last year, which I was there for, and Dominic Szoboszlai. It's a great place to get a last-minute equaliser or goal out, honestly. And to see the deflation around the ground and all that energy just being sapped out of them, it was absolutely worthwhile just watching it. I've watched it many times. Don't think there's a better penalty I've seen all season. Well, not all season because we only just started, but you know what I mean. It was a belter of a pen, definitely a pen, and especially if you look at it behind the goal, wasn't soft. He touches his knee, he goes down, he's got pace. End of. And if it was down the other end, I would have turned around and would have kicked off on the centre half or the right back or the left back who actually touched him. Pen for me, and what happens in other games, I do not care. Do not worry.
Fair enough. Well, as we said, that gives us a 2-2 draw against Newcastle, and that means we now move on to the next game, which is Nottingham Forest, early kickoff, 12:30 next Saturday. We shall see how they get on with that. Before then, we could have potentially new players, if, as the fans say, that those above pull their fingers out as they've been moaning all summer on social media. Just quickly looking at it, Neil, can you see new players coming in? I know there's rumours all the time, we're looking at this player, but it never seems to quite materialise. So can you see new players coming in the last, 9 or 10 days of the window?
I think there has to be, because we've lost some leaders.
It's not. I got to be honest. It's not even that. It's only 7 days, I think. Now, so it's getting even tighter.
I think it's a week. I think we've lost a lot of experience and leadership. And when you look at what our rivals are doing, they're signing big players and giving themselves a decent amount of squad depth, which we just don't have. As I said, we might have a centre back to some extent now, but the rest of the squad, we're not helped because there's a few key injuries, but the rest of the squad, the depth is lacking. So there has to be signings. I'd like to see a couple of forward players, wingers, but someone that can play through the middle and cover for Isak as well. I'm desperate for someone in midfield that will organise and put some structure into the midfield. And I'd like a right back. And that, I could go on because, I'd like some good competition at left back as well. But for me, there's 4 priorities, 2 forward players, a midfielder and a right back. So I suspect we'll get 2, 3 if we're lucky.
Like and subscribe to the LFC Total Red Football Podcast on YouTube.
Now, I've seen a few things, Kev, on, again, social media and supposed in the nose and all this kind of stuff that Liverpool have, behind the scenes, said they're not really looking at midfield. They're more looking at attack, wingers, etc. Potentially somebody to step in because Ekitike is injured. How do you see the last few days of the transfer window playing out?
Well, those who don't think that we need a centre mid needs to watch that game again on Sunday and tell me why we don't. We haven't replaced Fabinho since he's gone. We're still waiting for him. Gini Wijnaldum has never been replaced either. There's another one. I agree with everything that Neil said. I'd like us to sign 3 players, 4 players, one being a centre mid. It could be doable, but for some reason, we're only looking forwards. I think we're very, very light in that middle of the park, and everyone who's Curtis Jones's biggest enemy and doesn't like him, you'll find how much of a gap we're going to have for the youngsters who are coming in when you've lost someone who's got over 200 appearances and can do a job and versatility. Because I'll be honest, I was shouting and crying for Curtis Jones to be on that pitch on Sunday at right back and Frimpong to be taken out. Losing these kind of players, seniority, seems all very well, and we'll move them on, and we got this. But if we're not replacing them or not providing any kind of support or structure or backing the manager, it's not going to work well for us. We're light as it is, and we're just making things even more worse for ourselves. And we're asking, literally, for the 3 senior players in that midfield, which is Gravenberch, McAllister, and who's the other one, Szoboszlai. You're asking those 3 to play 60 games a season and not get injured or suspended. Good luck with that.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully they're looking at the options they've got, whether it's Barcola or whether it's anybody. I mean, there's rumours of Minte, is it, from
I think
Brighton?
That's dead now. I think that's been that's dead in the water now.
I mean, I always look at it and think, until they're holding the shirt, being unveiled, I don't really believe these in the nose, because at the end of the day, most of them know nothing. I know there's some trusted journalists out there, and when they give the light that something's happening, you think, okay, fair enough, it might be. But until they're holding the shirt and they're standing on the pitch and, we're glad to be here type thing, then I believe they're coming in. Who they're going to bring in this late stage, I don't know. They definitely need some reinforcements. As we said, we are quite light in places. I just hope they don't leave a new guy in charge scrambling around for the first 12 months going, oh, we spent big last year, we can't do it this year as well. And then next summer they go, oh, we'll splurge big again. It's like, yeah, but you could have done it last year or a decent amount, got some players in and made a real good run of it in the first instance instead of just waiting to patch it up next summer. So I really do hope that comes to fruition, but we shall see, and we will talk about it.
If you look at when Klopp left, we spent virtually nothing the first summer.
Yeah.
We brought Chiesa in and did the deal for Mamadashvili. I don't know when the finances for that kicked in. We've done nothing in either January, and we had that big window. But if you average it out across the windows and consider the players that have also left in terms of their transfer fees and wages, it isn't anything like what people seem to suggest it is. So I think there must be money there.
I do think that this takeover has kind of got in the way of the transfer window. I think what's made this transfer window even harder is it's been in a World Cup year as well. And then straight from the bat, you've got Elliot Anderson going for 116 million. And that was the benchmark then. And all the prices that would normally go up have gone even quadruple in this transfer window. There's some, and then that then tells, as PSG have said, well, if Morgan Rodgers is worth that much and has gone for that much, then how much are you paying for the two-time European champion and a regular starter for France? So it pushes everything up. The irony of all of it is that the money that we're paying for him, for Barcola, had we done our due diligence properly, we could have had Elise and Caraviccia from Napoli for roughly the same price we're going to be paying for Barcola.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay because this money that we're going to use for Barcola is still part of the Coutinho money, isn't it? So we're okay. We're going to be in the... And I love adding things like that.
Is this the interest on that? But everyone seems to think that next summer we're going to have loads of we'll be splashing the cash, because we've got Bezos and Batian involved.
I was going to say, if reports are to be believed, apparently in the first 12 months, if FSG want to, there is an option for this new consortium to take full control. Like I say, I'm not in the know. I don't know that. That's what I've been reading. And it's like, if that happens, that'll be a completely new thing to talk about. But there surely is some money around. I mean, as we say, it's big business, the Premier League. There's definitely money around. It's just whether FSG want to put their hands in their pockets and spend it. And I'm not having a go for or against. I'm just, that's the facts. So we shall see over the next 7 days before the window slams shut if they do anything. Just before we do head off, guys, one thing I wanted to talk about was, I would say, my all-time favorite player, and it's not just because it's him, but it's been the news, obviously, that Sir Kenny Dalglish has received the 2026 PFA Merit Award. I think a worthy winner. You can't say that, he doesn't deserve it for his services to football and everything else. He's a fantastic recipient, isn't he, Kev?
Absolutely. Goes without saying, he's King Kenny for a reason. What he's done at this club, coming down from Celtic, coming in, and the way he's took to this city just shows you the kind of man he is and how humble he is as well. Great for him, great for the family, great for the club that we're getting recognised for the players that we've produced, and it's good all around. It's nice. It's a shame he's still not. He's too old to play, because I'd love to see him in our team now.
I completely agree. Neil, a worthy award, do you think?
Yeah, he's my all-time favourite as well. Not just because of his qualities as a player, but him and his as a person, and I think what him and his wife do in and around the city for charity, and his leadership during the lowest point of the club's history. I just think fantastic person and brilliant player. So, yeah, delighted for him.
Well, I'm just, we all know what he gave as a player, double winning side, etc. But when he took over as manager, he just almost transitioned quite easily into it, as if it was just meant to be, wasn't it? He was like, made it look easy. And unfortunately, obviously, the things that happened at Hillsborough, but even that, it was a heavy burden on his shoulders. We know that. But he went to the funerals. He took it, as a personal thing to do. And at the time, I was thinking, why isn't he being recognised for all this? I'm not having to go about Alex Ferguson getting knighted for his services to football, but he used to really grate with me that they hadn't recognised him for what he's done. I know he is now. I think it was it was late. It was far too late for when it should have been. But even coming back as a manager, years later and winning another trophy, he's won the Premier League, obviously with Blackburn. Just such an all-round decent guy. I know he's come out this year and said he's had his own illness issues, and obviously we wish him all the best with that. But he's an absolute legend, isn't he, Kevin? There's no other word to say about him, is there?
There's not. To go to all those funerals the way he did, the man he done it, taking the manager's job when he was playing manager, helped with a certain Bob Paisley being in his corner as well. It's fitting. He got the best out of the players. He knew what it meant to play for this club. He knew what it meant to be part of this city, and that was shown through all that. He was there for Jordan Heiser as well. So he'd already gone through the tragedy already. So there's not more that can be said. There's not any additive that can be added to what has already been said about how good Kenny was on and off the pitch. And long may he's with us, because it's great to have a legend like that. I've met him a few times. Fortunate to have met him a few times, and he is exactly the same person you see on the TV. He's very, very, very dry with his humour. Doesn't suffer fools, so I don't know why he kept him. He was speaking to me a few times and had a conversation with me. But yeah, he's absolutely amazing.
Neil, do you see a time? We look around the ground, and you've got statues there of Paisley and Shankly. Does he deserve something like that? We've got the stand named after him, obviously. The Kenny Dalglish stand. Do you think a statue? And I throw that out there, and people go, "Oh, we've got somebody else having a statue." And it's like, I know Man City do statues for ex-players and that, and sometimes you put them up and you think, does he deserve one? But I think this guy does, doesn't he?
Yeah, you're talking absolute club icon, legend. When you talk to people about Liverpool, Sir Kenny Dalglish is probably the one name that everybody consistently mentions, and he should be mentioned up there with the likes of Shanks and Paisley for everything he did as a player and everything that we've spoken about when he took over as a manager. So he has the stand named after him. Whether that would mean that he wouldn't get a statue, I don't know, but I would never begrudge him of anything like that, because I think he's thoroughly deserving.
Fair enough. Well, like I say, it's he has been named the PFA 2026 winner of the Merit Award. So congratulations to King Kenny. We have come to the end of the show, guys. I am so grateful for you coming on and having a chat and just getting back into it. We're back for a new season, and we'll see how this goes for Liverpool FC. Like I say, starting next week with the game against Nottingham Forest. It's going to be interesting. First home game back at Anfield under the new head coach. We'll give him all the support we can, I suppose, until things go one way or the other. If it gets better, fantastic. You get more support. If not, then I'm sure the fans will let him know that he's not doing things right. But until that point, let's see what happens. Thank you very much to Kev and Neil for joining us on the LFC Total Red Football podcast. Thank you for tuning in and also for listening on Spotify. You can, as I always say, watch us again on YouTube or on TikTok, and you can listen on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music and things like that. So please give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next stream very soon.
Thanks for listening. Join us next time for more LFC Total Red Football Podcast.